Welcome, welcome to the Color Whisperer Show, where we talk about all things home and healing. And today, I'm a little more casual today, but our topic today is about good energy. You see my shirt I got for Christmas. I'm very excited about it. So today, we're going to talk about good energy and how much that impacts your life. And what if you're depressed? What if you're feeling stuck? How do you get out of that bad energy and create the good energy? And today we are honored to have the wonderful Shantana Talise with us, and she is an amazing healer. And she's going to help us get a little prosperity for the new year. Everybody's making New Year's resolutions, and one of the big ones is how do I make more money? So that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. How do you make more money? How to get rid of the blocks that are preventing you from making more money, and how to create that good energy so you attract more money. All right, Shantana, welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Hello, hello. It's so good to see you.
You're so good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
So let's first of all let's talk a little bit about like how did you get to this, and you do some wonderful healing. So maybe we should talk a little bit about the kind of healing you do, and then how did you get there? Like, how did you know that this was your calling?
Um, I've actually always known
Okay.
since I was a child. I'm a channel. Let me start from there. So I'm a spirit channel. I channel with higher dimensional beings like angels and ascended masters, all those guys. And growing up, I always seen dead people. So I'm a medium as well. I just don't practice, but I always seen dead people. I would black out and go into a trance. And since the time my dad said it started when I was 2,
Wow.
so it's always been a huge part of my life. It wasn't until I got older and started working with light energy and learning how to do healing and actually how to work with it instead of just letting it control me that it. So it's been I don't know, going on 7 years now, 7 or 8 years that I've been pretty big into it. And
Yeah, I know as my healing powers expand, there's often a sense of like, okay, this is wonderful, and at the same time, it's like, well, wait, but now there's another side to it. Like I, I, at night, I have my own personal Dante's Inferno. And it's so I see all these beings, and it's like, okay, am I supposed to fix this? Like there's so many questions. When it first started, it was kind of scary for me. And I'm like, okay, am I supposed to fix this? Are they trying to tell me something? Um, Years ago, when the eyes, I call them the eyes, but when they first started, and then I went to the first Ripley's, believe it or not, museum is in St. Augustine, Florida, haunted as hell.
I believe it.
And I was relatively new to a lot of my awarenesses at the time, and we were staying in this place, and I have seen ghosts, before. That part didn't scare me. There was a presence in our room. We had a B&B, and there was a presence there, and both me and my roommate saw it, and we were like, okay, he was very protective, like nothing to be afraid of. Okay, fine. So then we go to the Ripley's building, and this little girl follows me home, and she's like screaming, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can see you, I can hear you, but don't know how to help you. So fortunately, with the time difference, I had a healer. It was still only like 8 o'clock here. And I called her and I said, help. And so she helped her go to the light.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about how to do that. She only knew, oh, wait, she can see me, and she'll know, I did know what to do to help her ultimately because I knew who to call, but I didn't
Mhm.
know how to help her. So there is a lot of that kind of, it's steps of evolution. You've got to figure out, oh, there's this, but there's other things that come with this.
Yes, there
Yeah,
really is. There's the good and the bad.
absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, uh, the kind of healing you do, because I do think you do some stuff that's rather unique. And the channeling, well, maybe we should go into, because your brand is Path to I'm sorry, Path to Prosperity.
That's my Facebook group. My brand is Shantana
Okay.
Space Healing. Like I have a
Okay.
Facebook page and all that.
Okay.
But um
And you channel with people's guides on how to move their businesses forward. So
yes.
let's talk about what that is.
So everybody, doesn't matter who you are, everybody has a spiritual team that works with them. And most people that start businesses, they no longer want to do like the 9 to 5, and so the goal is to work for themselves. And generally they know they have a calling because they're more, it doesn't matter what kind of business it is, there always seems to be some kind of intuition level there that's like, hey, like I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and it's their calling. So then when I tune in with someone's guides, we can go into whether they're on the right track, like on like if they're following their soul path, and it can be down to doing the right thing, but not like how do I put it? So for me, like channeling with people for business, it's not the right thing. Channeling is the right thing for me to be doing, but because that's not in alignment with my soul path correctly, like I'm supposed to be teaching, it's different. So like you can be doing the right thing, but not the exact right thing at the same time. And so it kind of gets confusing. So that's where I channel with people's teams, and I can be like, okay, like this is what you're supposed to be doing right now, where you could be supposed to be holding healing circles, or like just doing any kind of specific thing like group healing, and they'll be like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do for right this moment, so that the universe can open things up and actually get you on the right path where you're supposed to be doing your color whispering. Like it's that's your calling, like the way you work with the energy, the everything. It is your right path, but sometimes you got to go off of it to let the universe open you up to the right level, right? So it's different for everybody. And sometimes it's just like they want to step out of a job and go into a business, but they have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. So I'll sit down with them, and their guides will give them like a complete download of like, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And they'll bring me a program or a course or like anything, and they'll be like, you need to be focusing on this. And I've gone in with people and completely created spirit-led programs. So it's like down to the exact wording of meditations. When I've worked with people, it's like it's so specific how they're supposed to be working with it, how they're supposed to be working with people. And I specialize a little bit more in the spiritual businesses because that's obvious, that's what I know. But it's definitely a lot of fun, because then you get to see people actually, once they start opening up, and even a lot of it is mindset that people don't realize. Their mindset, and spirit will be like, okay, like you need to shift your mindset. And I feel like I'm always giving people crap, and I'm like, you're in a negative mind space, change it.
It makes such a difference. And the thing is, like, I've always known, like, when I was a kid, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. Like in high school, I didn't know what it was. What are you going to do? I don't know. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what I'm going to sell, but I'm going to do it. And when I found interior design, it was just like, this is everything I love rolled up in one ball. And, it was heaven. And it was really interesting. When I first started my business, I was in the most amazing networking group I've ever been in. And I'd been working for Closet World. And I joined the networking group to help with Closet World. And these ladies were like, Jeanette, you're better than Closet World. You need to be doing the whole house. You need to have your own business. And I'm like, well, that's the goal. And, so anyway, their encouragement helped me really start my business. And they gave me quite a few leads my very first year. They were probably 80% of my leads my very first year. It wasn't like a blockbuster money year, but it was still like, hey, this is real. People are helping me. And when I first started, I was like, the money's just going to come in. The money's just going to come in. But then as an entrepreneur, you kind of get beat up, and things like 2008 happen, and it's like you're busting your butt. No matter what you do, there's no money coming in, and you're looking around, and the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Well, you can't listen to the sky is falling, first of all.
A little red.
It's been interesting because I've had times in my career where it's just like, this is gonna work. I just know this is gonna work. I know this is it. And then I've had other times when it's like, I'm doing. Why the fuck isn't anything happening? And so it's all about mindset and energy. So, and every entrepreneur goes through this. This is part of it's a great soul journey. It really is, because you have to stay strong no matter what. When the news is telling you the sky is falling and the earth is ending, then you have to sit there and go, wait, that's not my world.
Yes.
So how do you, when you're in that place where it's so dark and gloomy, and it's really hard to get out of it. So how do you help with that?
Honestly, clearing, I know it's going to sound so simple when I say this, but just clearing chakras.
Yeah.
When you just get your energy cleared, because a lot of times, like even me, like you get into those slumps where it's like, oh, my world is ending. Nothing's flowing because there's no room in your energy to flow. You need to clear your energy, clear your chakras. Looking into, here's with blocks, there's good and bad with blocks. But the thing is people can get so focused on, oh, I have all these blocks, that they completely shut things off. And they create the block in themselves instead of focusing on, oh no, I'm this higher dimensional being. I'm this co-creator of my reality. I can create whatever I want. I can have whatever I want. And instead of having that abundance mindset, they were like, oh, I got to clear these blocks out. Well, you can spend years and years and years and years clearing out blocks. Trust me, I did it. And it's like, okay, well, you raise your vibration, so you do all the healing, but when you can actually just go, okay, like sometimes it's just a tune up. You just need to clear things out and let it go. And it could be things from childhood. It could be things from other lifetimes. And you just allow yourself to get that cleared out. And all of a sudden your energy will open right back up. And listening to spirit is the one thing I found. With a lot of the work that I do, I'm not a very patient person. I have my limits of patience. But I'm not always the most patient. And right. Doing the work I do, when you get into shifting energy and shifting even timelines and going into different realities, doing higher self embodiments, there's so many different things that I do, that it's there's a level of impatience where it's I want it right now. I want to be patient. I want it now. But there's also the contradicting energies of the collective, right? Because if the media and all that, if people are feeding into the fear that is being put out, it does lower the collective energy depending on how much.
Yeah.
But when we can raise ourselves up and be that beacon of light, we actually transmute a lot of that negative energy. And so then our world, because we step into that co-creator reality, our world begins to shift. So
yeah. When COVID started, now I have a retirement home right behind me. Mm-hmm. And those first few weeks of COVID, there were days when all I could do is lay in my bed and transmute energy. And I'd already had COVID, so I wasn't afraid for the disease. Mm-hmm. I was more afraid of wait, this is going to lead to depression. This isolation. A lot of people who are lonely, this is going to really affect them. And, because for some people, just going to the grocery store and saying hi to the checker, that might be the only communication they get all day, or maybe they see their neighbor and people were just isolating. And I was I really had to shift my energy. I'm okay, I don't mind doing this and helping transmute all this, but it can't lay me out all day either.
Yeah.
So I had to grow in my spiritual practices to okay, how can we do this on terms that are acceptable for me as well? And there was just so much fear that got blown out of proportion. You know, it was just there, every time you turned around, somebody would fear, 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 fear. And like, whoa, what are we really afraid of? You know, what do,
Right?
you know, okay, you're afraid of dying. Okay, well,
You're
I
dying
get
every
afraid
day.
of dying, but the mask is not going to make you safe. You know? there's you got to, the real fear is you're afraid of dying. And they're taking on that whole collective fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I had times at the beginning where I was like overwhelmed by that collective fear. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? You know, I'm sure you probably had to deal with some of that too.
You
But
know, the best thing that really helped me with that actually is protecting my home.
yeah,
Putting a violet flame shield of light around my house constantly. Because it transmutes everything. None of the collective energy can come in.
I
And
like that.
it would transmute everything. And when I'm at home, it would be like, okay, I'm not feeling all the collective. I'm only in my own energy. So then it actually gave me the strength to like raise my vibration up, and then I could transmute it out. And
Yeah.
ignore that.
Mark, you have a question.
I did. That's why I popped in and everything. You were kind of alluding to it, Shantana, and everything. But how important do you think it is to stay in touch? Because as Jeanette knows, I work. I'm not there today at a cultural arts center, and it is very much a historical building with a lot of ancestors and lots of spirits that have gone on that are still in that building because it was a converted church, and I still feel that very much connected to even some of my ancestors that have passed on, like my grandmother and others as well. But just in the business journey, how important do you think it is to get that direction from those ancestors? And in what ways do you help leaders in the business community get that connection to their ancestors and to understand when they might be trying to tell them something business wise and all along those lines?
So if you're in an old building, like you said, a church,
Right.
you have to be careful because there is negative beings that will pretend to be somebody's spirit guides. And they will actually influence you to make things where like, oh, I'm getting this spiritual, like this feeling that I should be doing this. And a lot of times, like, it's really good to protect yourself in that scenario and make sure when I work with people's guides, and I even help them work with their guides, like, you make sure that you are calling upon the guides that love them unconditionally only. That is the number one important thing, because then at least you know you are working with beings of light and not negative beings, because it's not just about ancestors. You have a team full of so many different kind of beings. So, but your ancestors that want to work with you, they love you. And so as long as that's what you're connecting in, but it's not complicated. You just call them in. I call in my ancestors that love me unconditionally only, and let them, you'll feel that energy around you. You'll feel that love, you'll feel that light. And then you can ask simply, like, and that's the thing, is people complicate it, but it's not complicated. You just ask, okay, can you give me guidance in my business for this? Give me a sign. And that is the simplest way to start working with them. And then as the connection with ancestors or other beings grows, because you open up your consciousness, that connection is able to actually grow, and you can get the words, like, because your psychic abilities open up. You can hear the words, or just the simple as that gut feeling. And in their business, that one's not for everybody. Like, because I've gone to like people where I'm like, okay, can you give me some guidance in my business? And it's like, what? Like, it made no sense. It was completely blown out of the water. Like, it was wrong, right? And I knew it. Whereas, so it's kind of like picking, I don't know, you hear people say like picking their niche.
Right.
And for some people, they can really connect with the business and and it'll be more than just receiving the signs of all of a sudden in their dreams, they're getting these downloads because your unconscious mind is taking over. So the dreams is a really big one, because your conscious mind tends to block everything out because adults are not as open.
Right.
So when you actually, that's why it's important to even go into meditation. If you want to do it like that, you can call them in. If you're always calling in those beings of light, those beings, those ancestors that love you, then, and you're like allowing yourself to kind of slip into that meditative brain state, then you can actually connect, and they will give you the guidance, whether it's through visions, words, it can be numbers. Really, it can be in any way, because they work with your strongest psychic abilities. It can be through smell. All of a sudden, like if you're supposed to be cooking and all that, you keep smelling this certain smell, like they will communicate it with you.
That makes a lot of sense. I can definitely see that. I know that one of the other things I was going to be curious about and everything was, I've heard a lot of people, and you kind of alluded to it when we were talking about this year of affluence and all along those lines, but I've been called by several friends a light warrior, and I take that as a compliment, and definitely something that I enjoy, that kind of benefit of life, for lack of a better term, and everything along those lines. But I'm just wondering your thoughts around that, and are we seeing, because some people are telling me that they are seeing a more positive shift to fight the division going on in the world, but they're seeing a more positive shift around the world, and that in the year 2024 and beyond, we might see some more positivity than the negativity we've been seeing for the last 4 or 5 years and everything. But I just wondering your take on that, because I'm hearing that there's about to be a sudden shift.
A huge. The energy of 2023 is so low. It's so dang. It's just so and I'm dying to get out of it. I'm so excited because it's only a few days away, and I'm like, okay, because I was doing a session yesterday, and she's like, okay, like when do you see this coming? And I'm like, I honestly cannot see much past 2023's energy, because 2024 is so potent, but it's not like it's coming, but we have to, it's like a shifting of realities almost. So like, this is where you kind of get into your timelines too. So like when timeline shifting is a really big thing that I do, because, well, I love it. And when you start doing, you got to think of a timeline as a different reality. Every timeline that you choose to go on is its own reality. Now, if you think of like each reality, you're still coexisting with previous realities, but the version that you are is no longer the version that you were on the lower timeline. It doesn't exist anymore. You are now a completely different person when you timeline jump. And what is happening basically is 2024 and kind of going onwards is there's actually been 2 timelines for a while. And your soul had to choose back around like the beginning of COVID. I can't remember. I think it was like 2020 or 2021. You finally had to make that choice. And so your soul knew. And so there's been a really low timeline going and a really high timeline going. So we're shifting going into 2024. Not everybody, a lot of us though. We're shifting into this 5th dimensional timeline, this 5th dimensional world, and the physical earth is actually splitting. And I don't know how many years that's going to take to fully, but it is. And like, there's 2 parallel worlds happening right now. If you want to think of it that way, like they're similar, but what we are choosing to see in the reality. And it is like, I don't see any politics. I don't see any of that. Like, it's just not in my reality. It might be in the lower one where there's all this fear, all this chaos, and they're like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. But in ours, it's not actually. And if you're considering yourself as a light warrior, you're already in the higher timeline. You're already in the higher reality, and you're going into 5D. And we already are in and out of those dimensions already, because 3D is not really much in existence anymore. It's kind of going up into like the 4 and 5D. So it's like you're kind of in and out depending on how high your vibration goes and how much it comes down.
Yeah, you can definitely see that and everything. And all along those lines, before I turn it back to you and Jeanette, the other thing I was curious about is, and this is for both of you, because how much should we kind of play a mentorship role with those that are younger? Because I know from the earlier part that you have got that 7-year-old and everything. And as I mentioned, I've got the 14 and 15-year-old. Ironically, Jeanette, I just learned this weekend or last week during Christmas what fields they are going into. So I now know what field they're going into and everything. One of them is a field that you actually deal with a lot and everything. But I think it's Julius, which is the youngest, no, the older, yeah, Julius and Langston. Langston, the younger one, is going to be going into architecture. So he's going to be going into architecture. And Julius, the oldest one, I think my brother told me that he is debating between law and biology, which is actually somewhat ironic because my grandfather, who he did not know, because that would be his great grandfather, and he had passed when I was a youngster and everything, was a biologist himself, and actually was the person that our HBCU, or one of our HBCUs here in Durham, is the biology building is named after him. So he may be following in his grandfather's or great grandfather's footsteps, and all along those lines, if he decides to go that way versus law and everything. But I just wondered, how much should we be trying to encourage, and how should we encourage the kids that are thinking of their path and now as well? Because like I said, you've got the 7-year-old, and I've got the 2 that are teenagers, which means they're about to be adults.
I might answer that one. How would you answer that?
Yes, either one of you.
Well, we have to be mentors. I mean, I have a niece and nephew. I didn't get to have kids, but I have a niece and nephew, and I always considered myself Auntie Mame. You know, my job was to teach them that they can choose a different path when they get older than the one that they were given. There were a lot of issues that they had to deal with that, you know, we did our best to teach them, hey, look, yes, you have to deal with this right now, but at some point you get to choose how you want to live your life. And I tried to show them as much as I could different ways of what life looked like. And you know, right now I can't adopt you. I can't, I can show you these other things. And then when you get to be old enough, you can say, this is what I want from my future.
Right.
And I think that that's our job as adults and as parents, aunts, uncles, teachers. They're not ours to keep. We have them on loan. Our job is to raise them into full functioning adults. There are parents who want to keep them kids all their lives. That's not what it's about. We get the pleasure of raising them. And there's good and bad that comes with that.
Right.
But that mentorship is so important. And, you know, I look at, depending on what their home life is like, that's, you know, they talk about all the different privileges that people have. But honestly, the biggest privilege is love.
Yeah.
Do you have a stable parent? Do you have a stable relationship that you learn from? What is it supposed to be like? Do you have somebody that's teaching you good self-confidence? Do you have somebody that can teach you how to handle money, how to have a good relationship with money? Do you have somebody that can teach you how to deal with difficult issues in a healthy way? That goes beyond any amount of wealth, power, color, creed. When you have a good support group, that is your biggest thing, because you can have all the money in the world, and you see it all the time. People, these rich, really wealthy people, and then their kids are messed up. Why? Because they were raised by nannies. A nanny doesn't care. They don't care. So it's that good support group, and that support group doesn't even have to always be mommy and daddy, because there's times when people get divorced for good reasons, but there has to be, that kid needs to feel safe. That's all a kid really wants, is to feel safe. We talked about this before. When a kid is born, so this is a really, it's design stuff, but it's fascinating. So when a child is born, the first thing it looks for is its mother's face, because that's when it knows it's safe. I'm going to be taken care of. I have food. I have shelter. My needs are going to be taken care of. And so I think too, you have a lot of kids that, they're born preemie, and they stick them in incubators, and they don't get that. They tell, now they know better. They say, okay, make sure you hold the kid. They look at the kid. That's why I have rites of passage once a month at our school. Oh, that's awesome, Daphne. But they need that encouragement of like, I've done something. And I don't like this everybody gets a trophy thing. No, we need to learn, what are we best at? If everybody gets a trophy, in England, the way the schools work, you get 6 subjects, and then you go to 4 subjects for like our senior year, and then you go to college and get 2 subjects. And I think that's great. I mean, I struggled with math. I took calculus. Why I took calculus? I've never learned. I got the wrinkles in my brain, okay? But that's it. And like, if I could have put that calculus time towards something that was more something I'm interested in, I could learn more. I think that we need to teach our children to understand what they're really good at. My nephew, he has the brightest light. He had such bright light about him. And I would tell him all the time, you have this bright light, and this is what you offer the world. Because we don't see it, right? I mean, I pick out colors. It's a piece of cake. I don't think nothing about it. Other people can't pick out a color to save their life. Shantana, you have some amazing healing capabilities. And it's natural. You saw dead people at 2 years old. You didn't even, probably, how old were you before you even realized not everybody saw dead people? I mean, we don't see our own best qualities because they come so easy to us. Mm-hmm. So my nephew would sit there and he'd tell me, oh, Jeanette, I'm nothing. I'm like, you are so not nothing. You have all these wonderful gifts, but he couldn't see it. In Judaism, when they do the bat mitzvah, there's this wonderful ceremony where the child, first of all, thanks parents, family, siblings for their gifts and what that child sees as how they've made the child who they are at that point. But the parents also come in and say, these are the things I see in you that I think are amazing. And to get that at 13, like you're awkward and crazy and like you hate yourself at 13, right? Your body's going through weird things you don't understand. And to have your parents come in with that powerful message of, I see a lot of good for you. It's incredible. Anyway, I'm very passionate about this subject, obviously.
Yeah, no problem. That was a very passionate answer, and you deserve to have that passion and everything. Hey, Shantana, just really quickly, because you alluded to it earlier, everybody, I know I'll be guilty of it as well, is going to have these lovely New Year's resolutions. Among them is going to be to find success in money or success in general, and among them is going to also be to find love if you're not in that love space and everything. I know that's probably going to be on my list and everything. So what is are we doing it wrong in trying to channel these unrealistic things and everything? And if so, is that probably part of the problem? Because I know that everybody, I can almost run down the list. People's New Year's resolution is going to be to lose weight, to find love, to find money, to find a number of other things. But there are some that are pretty much common ones among our population and everything, whether it's in Canada where you are, or whether it's here in the United States. So is that part of what we're doing wrong? Is that we're channeling the wrong thing? And if so, what can we do about this?
Change your mindset. So the thing is people, like just the way you said it, you want to find love, you want to find money. How about you already have it?
Right.
I'm already successful. I'm already rich. I already found the love of, or I already have the love of my life, or let the universe bring it to you. You don't need to find it. You don't need to put out that effort to find it. Right. Just attract it.
Right.
Because when you can just sit back and
it.
Pardon?
It's about being it.
Yeah. Because you can only have it if your vibration is at that point to actually receive it.
Right.
So when people make all these New Year's resolutions, especially going to the gym and losing weight is a really big one, I find.
Right.
And you know what? I dropped weight like crazy. All I didn't change the way I eat. I don't work out. I don't got time for that. I'm too lazy. I love myself. I look at myself in the mirror every day and I'm like, you're so skinny. You are beautiful. Like, I love you. I honor you. I respect you. And I just like, and it's honestly the hardest thing to do. But if you can sit there and look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I already am this. Mm-hmm. then it's already like the universe will be like, oh, well, this is what you resonate with. This is what you're saying you are. Here, let's give you more of that. And then all of a sudden your whole reality will shift. You'll drop the weight. The money will just be there. Because when you allow the money to just flow and don't care where it comes from, you can set a money goal and be like, okay, like, I don't care where this comes from. I'm leaving it open to the universe, however it comes to me. But this is my goal this month. I want 10 grand, 50 grand, whatever it is. I want, and it'll happen. The universe will just make it happen if you are in alignment with it. And that is where, like, money blocks and stuff, like there are blocks, like you can have things that you take on from your parents. And so you can try and do it year after year after year, and you're not going to receive it because there's an actual core wound here that needs to be dealt with. And with money, if you actually look at your relationship with your father, that is the biggest one. Look at your relationship with your father, because that is the exact same representation that you have of a relationship with money. If you don't have a good relationship with your father, or say like your father was taken from you, or, like there's some trauma in that relationship, guarantee you that is what you need to heal so that the money can actually flow. And then even like you look at your relationship with your mother, and if it's rocky, if it's always a mess, that is your manifestation relationship. Because you're like, for women, you have a womb, like, and I know it's a little different for men, but for women, we manifest with our womb because we're going into that divine feminine energy. So like you have that balance of the masculine and the feminine. That's why it's important that a man be in his masculine energy and has a partner that can be in her feminine, because then it brings that balance, but you have it in each individual. And so when people go into the new year and they're like, okay, this is my goal, and they're going to go at it really, really hard, they're actually putting themselves in their masculine energy, because your masculine is like when you see it come into fruition, that's all of actually like having it. Whereas your feminine is the creation of it. Because even in a woman with her womb, like she's creating, she's holding space, she's allowing it to come. Where a man goes out and he makes it happen, right? So if people go too much into that masculine energy and with their New Year's resolutions, they're not going to receive it the same, because they're not allowing the universe in and their guides in to actually help them hold the space to actually receive it. So within a month or two, they're giving up because, well, it didn't happen. It's not coming. Well, this sucks. It's now, then you're setting the presence for, okay, well, now it's going to be a crappy year. And instead of allowing that, understanding both energies and where you need to first energetically align and allow it to create and come, and then when you need to actually make the effort to.
And Shantana and Jeanette, there's an old saying that's out there, and I sometimes wonder if we don't pay enough attention to that saying as well, because even in the energy within the finances and the affluence, there's an old saying that says not all money is good money. So sometimes I think you have to also pay attention to where the money sources are coming from, because sometimes they might be coming from a negative place as well. Because I know that there have been some opportunities that have been presented to me that I have turned down or have thought about turning down, because they weren't always feeling like they were in alignment with what I was trying to do in my life and everything. I just wonder your thoughts around that, because there's that old saying that not all money is good money, because sometimes the person that might be bringing you the money might have some negative energies or some energies that they've got to deal with as well.
I feel like that kind of goes into like your relationship with money. Like you're getting these opportunities, but if you have a really good relationship with money and you're really positive, then those type of opportunities will present themselves. Right. But if you have a lot of money work that needs to be done, like I could go work, like I used to be in healthcare, I could go work in healthcare and I hate it, I dread it, but I've done it. And so it's like, it puts that negative pressure on your relationship with money, because you're like, hey, yeah, I'm getting paid, but it sucks. And so, yeah, it's completely out of alignment and it's not good. You could do it. But when you open yourself up to loving money and like respecting money and just understanding, like, and like saying to money, like, I love you, you're amazing, thank you for supporting me, then all those other things, they won't even, it doesn't matter. They're irrelevant.
Yeah, because that becomes a excuse me, kind of a catch-22, what you just mentioned for some of my creative friends, because they sometimes feel that they have to go do what you just mentioned, feeding their soul in order to feed their stomach and everything. So I've got a number of friends that are in the creative space that are also working for Lyft or DoorDash or a number of other companies because they're waiting for that bigger opportunity to come that will feed more of their creative soul and their creative juices. But they also have to pay the bills, and in some cases they have big families. I know at least one gentleman that's got kids that he is somewhat estranged from, but he's still trying to work that out, even in dealing with the need for the money and the need for something to survive. So that part, that I think is what a lot of people were going through in the age of the pandemic, because I did see a lot of people where they were getting those quote unquote side hustles that weren't always helping their bigger vision.
But then they're, I don't know how to put it. Then they're kind of like putting out that desperation too. Like if they can, as long as they're holding their energy up and they're like, okay, like this is just a temporary thing to help me get where I need to be. And they're holding that energy and holding that space to actually allow in what they want. Then, but what happens is people get so caught up in it. It diminishes the goal, because that energy, what is that saying? Where your energy, what is it? Where your energy goes, or where your attention goes, the energy flows.
Right.
And they're like that. And so if they're in that negative, but then they're still like, oh yes, they have bills to pay, but how much is the resentment?
And that puts out a lot of negative energy.
Right.
Yeah, because what they want isn't happening, so you're just sticking out all that. And so it's really important to understand that this is a temporary thing to get you where you want to be, and not let go of that hope, that love, that passion. Make sure that even after they're done working, they're creating that space of that love and passion and authenticity, especially because it's a really high energy. Then so it depends on which way they look at it. And if they're like, thank you, money, for supporting me, and thank you for money for supporting my business, blah blah blah, like it's all in the mindset, honestly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Jeanette and Shantana. I see why you have this amazing lady from Canada as a guest. She's got all kinds of insight and all of that and all along those lines. So I'll let y'all go back to the conversation, since those were the ones that I just had on my mind as I was listening to y'all.
So first of all, Shantana, you have an amazing weight loss healing on your website that I did. And I felt, I mean, the weight hasn't gone away yet, but I felt like 20 pounds lighter the next day, because you were talking about how the weight, we take on the weight of the world, we take on the weight of our ancestors. So and that all affects our ability to bring in money too. If you're like, and I'm the eldest child, and a lot of times the eldest child feels like you do have the weight of the world on your shoulders, because you're always taking care of somebody, and we literally grow up taking care of people. So then when we get older, we still take care of people.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. It's like you can tell somebody's an older child or a younger child. I'm like, yeah, okay. At least I can. I mean, it's so intuitive. I'm like, oh yeah, you're an older child. Okay.
Do you know which one I am?
Oh, you are not an older child.
You say I'm not?
I don't think so. Are you?
I'm the second oldest.
There you go. See? Yeah. No, I know. No, you're. I can tell that there's older, but you didn't feel oldest.
No, so. I have an older brother.
Now that can get confusing when the oldest child is the golden child, and then like sometimes in some cultures there's like the firstborn son is like the golden child, and so the firstborn daughter has the oldest child syndrome.
Really?
Yeah, when you get into some cultures, the firstborn son can do no wrong. The second-born girl, she's got oldest child syndrome totally.
Because she has to take on all the responsibilities.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. but there is, I don't know, there's a kinship, I guess. You just kind of know. But I want to talk, because one of the things that's really cool is you talk about how the relationship with our ancestors and past lives comes into what's going on now. And when we clear that, it opens up doors. And that's why, I mean, your healings, you have several healings that you can go in and just on your website, people can just get those. They're very good. I've done several of them, and I felt so many things just fall away just doing that. And we've worked together. And by the way, guys, she's freaking amazing. She's been very polite during this whole time, and very humble during this whole time, but she does amazing work. And there's some healers that have a lot of ego. She doesn't have the ego, but she really does want to clear the crap that's keeping you from getting the goals that you want. So I want to talk a little bit about the ancestor stuff. And we're talking about 2024 being a really abundant year.
Yes.
And then maybe we can do like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of healing. And let's get rid of some of that crap so we can open up 2024 and be amazing. And we're almost done with the show. Oh my gosh. So anyway, so I want to, there's so much I want to do, but I think that because that's one of the things that I have fought with a lot is the whole, the mother wound, the father wound, the dealing with the ancestors, and like, how is this stopping you? And that's what I was talking about with the kids. Is like the biggest thing that makes a good kid and helping them to thrive is how solid the parent is.
Yeah,
that's really it.
I 100% agree. See, my parents were so young when they had us that they weren't solid, but my dad's number 12. So I have a lot of aunts, and he's the youngest. And so I have a lot of aunts and uncles, but more so I'm really close with my aunts, and they help me with that foundation so that when I had my daughter and I don't know something, like I have places that I can go and be like, okay, like I don't know how to deal with this situation. How can I do this? Because I am a single parent. So I'm like, how do I? And I always tell my kid, like, you're not going to grow up normal because I help her break down situations. But when you can understand that it's not your shit, it's not yours. Like when you look at your ancestors and holding on to all that stuff, and I see so often these posts are like, oh, you're the chosen one if you're doing this and blah, 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 blah. You're the chosen one in your family to deal with all the karmic crap.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't feel good.
And it's like, why do I have to own all of that? I don't want to own that. Like I will heal it, but it's not mine. At the end of the day, I'm going to separate from it. And even my mom's stuff, I'm like, that's her stuff. And my dad, that's their stuff. Like I will go in and I heal. I will cut cords. Like, and it's really important that you can separate yourself. Like, okay, like this needs healed. But when you go in to heal it, don't take it on as the burden of, oh, this is my job, I have to do it. No, take it and go, okay, I'm healing for this, for the future generations to come. I'm healing this for me so that this isn't being carried into the next life or into my child's life. It's like, it's not just the ancestors. There's so many patterns that come up, especially with money, because they put money with self-worth. If I make a lot of money, I'm worth a lot. And it's not true. But even for healers, a big one is they're doing all this spiritual work. And one of the biggest things that I see is they're not allowed to be paid for their work. And that is a really huge block. And it's like, no, that's a contract you've signed in a past life. It's no longer relevant. That's not how today's world works. And so there's so many different avenues that need to be cleared.
People tell me, well, it's a gift from God, I'm not supposed to charge for it. And I'm like, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm really good at computers. I said, is that not a gift from God? I'm not good at computers. Every time my computer messes up, I'm swearing there's 4-letter words coming out of them. And I'm like, okay, who can I get to help me? Because I hate it. That's not my gift.
Yeah.
I have many gifts. That's not one of them. Putting together furniture and like, okay, this is a gift from God as well. It's like,
Mhm.
what's the difference? If your gift is healing, then your gift is in engineering or biology or teaching or whatever. I mean, it's still, this is what God gave us to exceed in.
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. That's what you're here to do. And that's how you share your light, because once you have that passion, doesn't matter what you're doing, if you have passion for it, you are shining the brightest light.
Yeah.
And you are helping raise the vibration of the collective. You are helping, you don't have to just be a healer to help heal the world. Doing what you love and being your authentic self, it's such a huge vibration that you want to spread that. So yeah, do what you love and dive into it.
And one person with a bright light heals how many?
I think it was like, it was around 70 people. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So just you being in love with what you are doing and who you are, we help raise the vibration for so many others
Oh yeah.
who may not even recognize that this is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Use a bunch of buoy. I don't believe in this stuff. Okay, fine. But
It's not your reality then.
right. But when they're around us, they feel better.
Right?
I don't even know why, but they feel better, and their vibrations gets raised, and it's all good.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. It's easy to spread love.
It's so easy to spread love, but you know what? So many people don't. I go on Facebook, and most, like you said, most of the people on there are really cool, but there's a few people, they're kind of stuck in the whole politics thing, and it's hate this and hate that, and I'm just like, why do you hate so much? Like, it's like, do you realize you're hurting yourself? Like, I don't care who they're hating, but I'm like, do you realize you're hurting yourself by hating this man? I know, the news is telling you you're supposed to hate somebody, but you're hurting yourself by hating anybody.
100%.
Anybody. I don't care what they did. You're hurting yourself by hating them.
It's so true, though. It really is.
And let go of that pain, especially if it's somebody close to you that really did. I mean, politicians, what do they really do to us individually? Who knows? But when it's somebody that's close to you, a family member, a dear friend, or somebody that, when they do really hurt you, you still have to, like, you don't want to be hating them either, and that's harder to let go of, but that's the healthiest thing, is to let go of it.
Oh yeah. But sometimes it gets a little deeper than that. It's like, why do you need to hold that hate? What is the true, like, what's the actual core wound there? That
Right.
is, because they're just, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it. Like, not the mask. I can't think of the word. They're just the person that you're choosing to project that onto. But there's obviously something in people that's like, okay, like, I have to hate this person because. But because why? Because you had a parent that hurt you, because there's somebody that hurt you, because you come with something that's really dark. Like, there's obviously a core wound in there, probably multiple, that need to be healed so that they're no longer holding on to that. I have to hate this person.
It becomes part of their identity. I mean, some people need to be sick because that's how they get. That's how they feel safe. And so, if you were abused by a parent, that becomes part of your identity. And if I let that go, then who am I going to be?
Yeah, I was just popping in to tell you that you could go on, because there's the other show will be running later on in the afternoon. So if y'all wanted to go a little bit longer, you're perfectly willing to do that, because it's a very enriching conversation. By the way, the word I think you're looking for was projecting, because sometimes you will project onto other people those kind of things that are going on.
Oh, I think he froze.
Oh, cool. Thank you for letting us know because I was hoping
your
it would
space
go
and all
on a
along
little
those.
bit
Yeah,
more.
no,
The
definitely
hours
wanted to
went
let
by
you know.
really fast.
It's like I said, go for an hour, 15 hour, 20 hour, and 30 minutes and all along those lines. I'm going to pop off again and let y'all finish the conversation. I did have one teasing question to ask Shantana because I've been thinking about it because it was also the line in a movie. Can't remember the movie and everything, but I love my grandmother dearly. I love many of my friends that have passed on and everything. I'm not sure how I would handle it if they literally walked in the room. And you said several times that you have seen dead people and all along those lines. So I want to know, how does this actually work and everything? Because if they walked in the room, I might have like a serious freak out moment and everything and all along those lines. So I just wondered how does this work in your life where you actually see dead people?
When I was a kid, I used to wake up next to dead people every night. I'd rip my bed apart because they'd be in my bed, and I'd wake up ripping my bed apart. Now we got some boundaries, and like they'll walk through my room. They wake me up all the time in the middle of the night, and they just walk through, and I'm just like, peace, like go away. Or I'll like wake up because I feel them and they're in my house. Like it's a normal thing. Or like my uncle just passed, and I was texting another uncle, which was his brother, and I was texting him, and all of a sudden my uncle is like right there, and he's like, say this, and I'm like, that's relevant to him, but I'm like, okay, like I guess I'm gonna look like that person, but sure. and every time I would talk to a family member, all of a sudden he's like, oh, say this, and I'm just like, so it's like they show up, but I have a bit more of a wall between, because I think dead people are annoying because I used to work in an old folks home.
Right.
Dead people are annoying.
I can see that and everything. So I'll let y'all go back to the conversation, but I just had to ask because I'm going like, wait a minute, how does this work? Because I could see the energy, and I've definitely heard voices in the head, dreams, and other things that I felt were communications from folks that have passed on, but have not seen the physical person in that space.
They're in our, so like we have different what's the word, realities, dimensions, different dimensions. Okay, they all kind of coexist. Now they always said, like before, it was like we're on the third dimension, so really low density, and then when you die, you have a life to live, like you go over, you're doing your thing, and you're not there all the time, like you're in the fourth dimension, and they can come back and like they can interact with us, they can help us, but like they're not there all the time. But if we're suddenly thinking about them, that's when they are kind of coming, they're present, they're trying to like communicate with us because they are around, because it's just a different dimension, but they do their thing. And then when they're ready to go forward, like, because we are higher dimensional beings, obviously, so like they can go into another life, they can stick around, they can help us, like there's so many different things that they can choose to do, because our lifespan for them is like a blip. So like if they are around our entire lives, it's like 5 minutes to them that they're actually hanging out before they go into their next life. Like it's because time doesn't actually exist. Time is a man-made concept. So what is an entire lifetime for us is not for them. It's completely different. So like you got to think of it as like the time difference is so like they're not always here. They go do their own thing. They got people to see, things to do, you know.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like I said, I'm gonna turn it back over, but just to let you know, Shantana, the Cultural Arts Center that I work at, there have been some people that have passed on, and there are definitely some folks that everybody that works at the Hayti Center, that's the name of it, has literally heard dancing footsteps and other things, because it is a cultural center. It's been a cultural center. It is also a historical church, so there have been people that have heard, I think, in maybe even entire sermons, but definitely they've heard dancing and a number of other things. So I don't know anybody that has worked there that has not heard the mysterious noises, because it is an old building. It's over 100 and it's over 125, 130 years old and everything. So definitely everybody there has heard some noise of some sort or another.
I love that. There's all the noise. Yeah, dead people. See, and I'll do a lot of house clearings.
Yes.
And there's not just like dead people that are in a house. Like I've come across like really like scary stuff, and the not like, it's just energies, different, like all kinds of different energies, and it's just it all becomes a part of it. It's just honestly sometimes it's what vibration are you on, because if you're in a house where you're fighting a lot, then that's what you're attracting in, right? And if you're not, then you're not feeding anything, you're not creating anything. Hear me
Yeah.
now.
I agree. Dead people can be annoying. I had one, it was so funny. I got in an Uber and the guy was like in his 60s and he was missing his dad. His dad had died recently and he was missing his dad, something awful. And next thing I know, his dad's in the passenger seat. And I'm like, and he goes, you can't tell him I'm here. You can't tell him I'm here. You can't tell him I'm here. Okay. He said, but you have to tell him X, Y, Z. And I'm like, and how am I supposed to do that? You know? I said, you better steer the conversation to get there because, you know, and oftentimes when I get messages like that, it's not anything like, oh, you know, check this box for some,
No.
you know, it's generic stuff that like if somebody doesn't believe, they're gonna go, well, how do I know that's them? I'm like, you don't have to believe me. I can just tell you what I see and what I'm feeling. And, you know, but usually when they appear, the person's wanting to hear it. So, but this one was just really, you can't tell him I'm here. You can't tell him I'm here. You can't tell him I'm here. Fine, I won't tell.
I think the worst is when they're like, can you tell them that I love them and they don't hurt? Because, you know, I'm right here. And it's
right?
like, I'm there for them. Like, let them know this. Like, I am, you know, like just tell them how much I love them and it's okay. And they're going to get through. And I'm like, you make me feel like such a fraud. Thank you. Because
Right?
Generic.
Right? It's generic. And it's like, okay, I could be coming up. I was like, you're channeling something real and they're not saying anything that, you know, you couldn't make, like, okay, well, duh, of course they love you, you know, right?
Right? I'm good on the mediumship.
All right, we got permission to go over, so let's do some money healing or some general whatever healing you feel called to do for 2024 to make it great.
I kind of want to do an abundance activation.
Okay.
Is what they keep telling me, and that's what I'm feeling really drawn, like to help anchor in that abundance of 2024, like really get that solidified. So
yes, and let's all, because the news is saying something different, so we want to move into the timeline of 2024 as our best year ever.
Okay, I'm just gonna call in. So like
okay.
I channel, for those of you that I don't know if you've come across channeling, but like I'm, if you're not watching it live, it's fine. Like I'm gonna call in everybody that's watching this, like everybody's team, so that their teams are helping them and anchoring in that energy. So it's for everybody that comes across this. Okay. Okay, we're gonna clear it. They're saying they want to do work with the grids. Like when you have like grids all over, they just kind of anchor themselves in. They're saying we're gonna clear out the old grids to start with. So I'm just gonna spend a minute doing that. There's actually a lot of third dimensional grids that are hooked in. There was one, like, I'm so for so many, just at the bottom of your feet, like you're standing on this grid and it's just preventing you from like being abundant. Like it's such a, it's gone now. Okay. Okay, we're gonna anchor in some fifth dimensional grids and open up that heart space so that you're going into 2024 like with an open heart with that vibration and just receiving in that receptive energy. Dira kotara sontorera kete katera. Dara kora selera kiandari da kora salata katera shukotante. Ala tora salatera kete tatandare kota tataya kitara kitara kitara. Ayondore shukora santa. Ayondore kandere siempre kiandere kete tatandere kora.
So that's light language, guys. So she's not.
Kora salatera.
It is actually a language.
Anterior corasiata de Yarkiantarera Kuashiara Katera Hara 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 Nega Kuanda Siorashia de Kuashia Kata Ayokuea Shungodi Halea Diara Herokodiara Siantiera Kura 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 Dirano Kotiana Sianatera Kurandera haratia katera 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 kate. Just showering you with light codes so that you are in that receptive abundance energy. We're going to plug those in now. Had to bring your vibration up. We're just going to expand your energy out. They're saying they want to do. Or like, let's get it all in while we're here. Want to expand that energy so that you actually have the space in your energy field to receive.
That permission to receive is huge, and you have to give it to yourself.
For some of you, there's so much restriction around your energy. Like they're just like taking off these barriers that were placed there so you can't fully expand out as much as you are capable of. So we're just removing those so that you can actually expand and really have a lot of space to receive. They're just saying they want you to say daily, like every day, I allow myself to receive every day. And just ask them to turn on your energy to open it up to receive. And then whenever you're manifesting, you can just ask that your energy be turned on to be like a beacon of light to receive whatever it is or whoever it is. Okay. There. Actually, I'm just going to ground that energy out.
So if you're going through something like I cough when I'm getting rid of stuff, you may be yawning, you may, your body may be like a chiropractic, adjustment. You may have some emotional stuff that comes up. It's all normal. It's all healthy. Just let it go and you'll feel better.
My eyes water, my nose runs, I cough, I sneeze, I yawn, like my jaw it's a good thing my jaw's dislocated because like
Goodness. Well, that was really powerful. I felt a lot from that. So hopefully, this is a great way to start off the new year. This was a wonderful, let's bring abundance of 2024 in. Yay, yay, yay. So Shantana, I want you to take a few minutes and plug, because you've got so many amazing programs on your website to help with money, to help with weight loss, and so much more. So just let's tell them all about what you do and what you offer, and go ahead and plug yourself. Your website.
Okay, my offerings. I have a few. If you want to step into the new year and really embrace that abundance, I have a couple, and even business-wise, like right now I have a lot of business programs out, courses you can take. I have some that are lower spectrum. I just put one out. What is it? Your Richest You. And it's really cheap. I wanted to make something small so that people can step into the new year with being the richest version of them. There's lots with activations, a lot more of energetic activations. I don't know.
Well, I did one of your money courses. That was huge. Let go of a lot of stuff from my ancestors. Let go of a lot of stuff from past lives. I did your weight loss one. That was really amazing. I've done other weight loss healings, and I was like, whoa, Shantana went deeper than anybody else. So
I'm good at that. That is my thing.
I like it. I like it. Why sit and deal with the same problem for months? If we can get rid of it, let's get rid of it, right? So I can personally speak for those two. And then you also have a long-term course.
Oh, I have my Abundance Mastermind. So all of my programs at the moment, because in the new year, like I think I told you before, like I'm shifting into some new avenues. So all of my stuff now is like, I have my Abundance Mastermind. It's a 6 to 7 month course. Like it's 6 months of activations, healings. And it's a lot. Like I had those that have taken it, like the shifts in their lives, they were like, holy crap, like what happened? Like astronomical. So like you get a lot of like, if you're ready to like step up, I recommend my Abundance Mastermind. And it's all you, like that one's a 7-month one. You get a whole library of videos, activations, all of that. And that's how most of my stuff is set up. I have other courses that you get for like a lifetime. Like if you want to learn to take care of your energy, courses on abundance, courses on the Akashic Records. Like there's different ones. Yeah, they're all set up the same way. It's just summer courses and summer programs that I've ran, and you get access to them, and they're all like, you get a video library. But yeah, my Abundance Mastermind's probably it's my baby. I finally just finished recording it. I think a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah,
and working with you individually is mind blowing. It really is.
There's so many ways you can work with me.
There's so many ways. So if you're called at all, go check out her website, which is
ShantanaTulisHealing.com.
Yes.
And yeah, my individual stuff, like there's the channeled healings one-on-ones where you get the distance. That's a really popular one. There's ones where you can come on video chat with me and speak directly to your guides and get the healing. I have ones where we go into past lives and do timeline work in past lives. I have lots of different ones. So whatever is your fancy. And then I also have a couple membership groups on Facebook. My cheapest one is, what is it, $14.97? And I was looking at it, the amount of stuff I have in there, I was like, whoa, when did this happen? Like, it's just, there's so much, and it's only $14.97 a month. Like, it's so cheap. And then I have another one that is specific to, that I do with somebody. So like, I have it where I'm doing the energetics, a lot of the energetic shifting, meditations, working with your money story. And then my partner is very corporate. She always says she was in corporate America, so she knows the business end in that way. So we kind of brought it together, and yeah.
So ShantanaHealing.com, right?
ShantanaTulisHealing.com.
Shantana Tulise. So let's spell the name because.
Okay, so my first name, Shantana, 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 and then Tulise, TELISE, Tulise, healing, obviously, .com. I was about to get my
Awesome
email. That's what came to mind as my email.
Awesome. Well, I am so appreciative of you being on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This was a wonderful day, and thank you for doing the healing. And I wish the best for you in 2024. It's only a couple days away. New adventures, new exciting things. And I wish everybody listening a very happy 2024, and may you have much abundance.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go to Kendo Spice, because we've done a lot of spiritual healing, but now you got to get the physical healing with Kendo Spice so your body can feel good. Because if your body feels good, it's a lot easier for your spirit to feel good.
That's so true.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements, but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can-Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can-Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can-Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can-Do Spice a try.